Well, greeting everyone. This is Fadi, and I am so excited, of course, that you're joining us, throughout this video series on Sharia law, Islamic Sharia law, or what we call the Muslim Talmud, because really now you're beginning to understand why we gave it such a title. And of course, every single episode in this series focuses on one aspect, one important aspect of that Sharia, the body of that Islamic law. And hopefully you can see also that this is not going to be over anytime soon. That doesn't mean I'm trying to intimidate you here, but I'm trying to help you get excited that we're going to pour out our heart. When I say we, myself and my guest, our brother Lloyd Dejongh, who is the presenter of this material. I wanted to honor, of course, his research, and I wanted to honor, of course, his scholarship. And I invite you, as always, to go and subscribe to his channel and reach out to him. Or even if you want to reach out to him through me, I am always available to do that. All that to say is that hopefully by now you have gained a much better understanding about what we mean by Sharia, and you can see the complexity of Sharia. You can understand why some of your Muslim neighbors will say, "Oh, Islam doesn't teach this," or "I don't know about ISIS or this." Sadly for them, they don't have a clue what Sharia is all about, and I can assure you that ISIS actually knows more than what your average Muslim neighbor would know, simply because they have their own Islamic scholars who want to do it by the book. In fact, they call themselves the prophetic way, meaning the Qira'at al-Rasul or Qira'at al-Nabi, or the Sharia of the messenger. In other words, they want to follow what the messengers basically taught them, along with his companions and their followers as well, the Salaf. That's what we mean by that. Today's episode will really take us through the journey how a verse can become a doctrine, and then we'll end up with a book. As always, I want to turn our attention to our guest, Lloyd. And Lloyd, thank you so much, as always, for being here with us. Thank you for your research and for your hard work.
Thank you. Great honor and privilege to be here.
So what do we mean by from verses to doctrine to books?
So recently in a discussion with Jay, he mentioned in a debate, a Muslim he was debating mentioned a single verse in the Quran which spoke about amputating a hand for theft. And when he pressed him on this to ask for more information, this Muslim would only refer to this particular verse. And let's say the verse has, 20 words in it. That is not a lot. Well, one has to then extrapolate and do your own exegesis and your own understanding of this. And Muslims will argue back and forth because there are verses in the Quran that contradict each other. So you end up going in circles. Mm-hmm. Well, Muslims do ask, have you consulted a scholar? So I said, well, let me consult a scholar. And so let's take that one verse in the Quran that says, okay, well, amputate the hand for theft. And it becomes doctrine. So we've been so focused on the verses that we need to really step away from that and look at doctrine derived from that, a body of beliefs, knowledge, writing derived from that, and how that then ends up in these legal books. Right, so let's have a look at the slides here. So from verses to doctrine to the legal books. Right, let's have a look. So now pause there. So let's have a look how that single verse is applied within the Islamic law. So let me go here. This is the Reliance of the Traveler. I'm going to go to two manuals so you can see corroboration within the Hanafi and Shafi school of fiqh. The penalty for theft, section 014.0. A person's right hand is amputated whether he is a Muslim or a non-Muslim subject of the Islamic State, or someone who has left Islam, who has reached puberty, is sane, and is acting voluntarily. Fantastic. If you steal at least a quarter of a dinar, right? Now, within the Hidayah, you will notice, now there's the hadith of Aisha where she mentions they would amputate someone's hand, I believe, for stealing as little as one egg. Now, in this example, in today's value, 1.058 grams of gold is about $59. However, in the Hidayah, they will speak of a dinar. They provide the price of a dinar in 1791, which at that time was about $3.63, but €3.42, or £2.88. So for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, you can have your hand or your foot amputated. Right? Let's have a quick look at the final reference here. If a person steals a second time, his left foot is amputated. If a third time, his left hand. And if he steals again, then his right foot. If he steals again, well, they might put you to death. Let's quickly go. So there, I'm not going to go into much depth here, but you're welcome to download these and read the rest for yourself. This is the Hadaya. This is the major manual of Islamic law within the Hanafi school of fiqh. Let's have a look here. This is book 8. And you'll see here, chapter 2, of thefts which occasion amputation. And chapter 4, of the manner of cutting off the limb of a thief. Muslims will sometimes argue that when they say cut off something, they mean deny them sustenance, deny them food, deny them money. No. They mean chop off the hand. Notice we go from page 82 to where this ends here, of the acts of a thief with respect to the property stolen, right, up to page 126. You now have 44 pages of detailed law. 44 pages of detailed law, discussing how exactly to chop off the hand, when to chop off the hand, why you chop off the hand. Notice it also goes on to say here, notice chapter 4, of plunder and the division thereof. I didn't realize that plunder, which is what pirates did, pirates would plunder things and then divide the spoils amongst the pirates. I wasn't aware that was a religious duty, but notice in the Islamic law, this is something that is discussed as a religious duty. Your thoughts, Fadi, before I continue?
Well, I was going to say, maybe some of our viewers are going to think, including Muslims, that if you cut someone's right hand, their misery is over. No. If they got caught stealing again, now you can, according to some rulings, you can cut their left foot. And if they steal again, you cut their other hand. And if they steal again, you cut their other foot. And believe it or not, in some rulings says, and if they steal again, I don't know how they're going to steal with no limbs anymore. If they steal again, then you can rehabilitate them and work with them. Gee, why didn't you think about that the first time?
Other rulings say the death penalty is next, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's all over, you know.
Well, look, this all over thing, understand this is well known and well understood within Islamic law. These differences actually have a name. They're called the Doctrine of Ichteloff. Actually, let me just type that in. I'm not going to cover that right now, but I'll introduce it since we mentioned it. It's called Ichteloff, which means difference.
That's right. Ikhtilaf in Arabic means difference. Yeah.
Ichteloff, difference. Now, this doctrine is well defined, and the primary scholar on this topic in Islam is a man called Shar'ani. Okay, is a scholar called Shar'ani. He wrote a very important book called the Mizan al-Kubra, the Great Balance, or the Supreme Scales, and he talks about this difference between the four schools. And an important point, Muslims like to say, well, the scholars differ. Well, yes, they differ on 20% of things that have no bearing on the fundamental beliefs within Islam, right? So, for instance, these are cosmetic issues. Do you pray with your hands up here? Do you pray with your hands by your waist? That doesn't affect fundamental beliefs in the fundamental doctrine in Islam. Those are the differences. The scholars, the ijma, is the agreement on 75, 80% of things that are fundamental, and they all agree. Now, there may be differences. Within the one school, you apostatize. They kill you on the spot. The other one, they kill you after 24 hours. The other one, they kill you after 72 hours. However, this difference is called the strict and the lenient. Rukhsa and azima. Azima, the strict. Rukhsa, dispensation. Right? We saw that earlier with the lying, they used the word dispensation as well, where a Muslim can lie. That's also dispensation. So this is, people have the idea of these are radical Muslims. No, they are strict Muslims. That is, they're following the Sharia strictly. Then you have rukhsa. Rukhsa is when you are offered dispensation, because Allah realizes as a mercy, not everyone is able to perform everything equally well. Not everyone is equally talented. And therefore, those people, actually I'll type that here, azima, and I will go into this at another point, azima and rukhsa. Those are things, so this is the range within which they can operate. This is the range within which they can decide. Are we going to do this strictly? So a Muslim who goes on London Bridge, stabs people to death, he is not a radical, he is operating strictly. And azima is compulsory, it is obligatory upon a small minority of Muslims. They have to do this, or Allah will abandon the Muslims and they will go to the hellfire because they have failed, some have failed to follow Islam strictly. Now, I will end off with this here about this. So, no distinction is made in Islam between the rules of Sharia law and the rules of religion. The religion and the law are the same. In other words, this means that Islam technically is not a religion. I've said that. It's a deen. Deen is a political system, a totalitarian, oppressive political system akin to Nazism, Fascism, Communism. Doctrine is a principle or position of, or the body of principles in a branch or knowledge, a system of belief. Now, doctrine is detailed. One verse is not detailed. The doctrine is detailed. You can see 40, 50, 60 pages on amputations in the Islamic law. Mm-hmm. So a principle of law is established through precedent. Then a body of knowledge is derived from that, this ijtihad. And of course, a doctrine is also a military principle or set of military strategies, which is inherent within Islam. And the legal experts are the al-ilm, the people of the science, Islamic sciences. The Islamic sciences encompass all of these. So these legal experts are not just legal experts, they're experts in the science of applying this. Islam has a completely different idea of what a science is versus Western understanding. And I'll stop here.
Wonderful, brother. Thank you so much, of course, for this amazing, research, and of course, this in-depth explanations, but yet in a simplified fashion. I hope everyone who is watching this is enjoying what we are talking about and also benefiting from it. Until we meet again next time, goodbye, everyone, and God bless. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, CIRA International, and click on the bell so that you receive notifications whenever we publish a new video or go live. I would also like to appeal to you to consider becoming a Patreon patron by clicking the link right below. By doing so, you can give towards the production of these videos. There are also other options for you where you can give to our channel. I thank you from the bottom of my heart.